Hi, my name is Rachelle McCloud, and I'm a licensed clinical social worker and emotional wellness coach. And today I want to talk to you about the Scapegoats Guide, the Family Scapegoats Guide to Surviving and Thriving the Holidays. And this is just really important right now. So I'm going to talk to you about what it means to be the family scapegoat. And what you need to know, right? Because we need you to survive and we need you to thrive. And this really, I'm going to explain to you why, from your brain's perspective, this is a really, um, this has huge potential to really be massively healing for you. I'm going to talk about that, but I'm going to back up a little bit and we're going to start talking about what the family scapegoat is so that you know what you're here for. Okay. Um, in family systems, when they become dysfunctional, we will create ways of regaining function. And sometimes we can accidentally find some solutions to our dysfunction that are really functional and healthy and awesome. And sometimes we can find strategies that are not healthy. And one of the things that we can have in families that have division, there's many reasons scapegoating happens, but this is one of them. But a lot of times we'll have division between maybe parent or the parents, or a parent and a sibling, or two children, and all of a sudden, all we need is an outside enemy. And if we're both fighting against them, we're not fighting each other, and we'll actually come closer together. Right. And so if that's the parents, if the parents are scapegoating a child, they can unify together and go against the child and have a common enemy, and it keeps their marriage together and strong, right? Um, and so the child is then used as a means of staying together and staying connected. And so scapegoating can happen in multiple ways, whether that's name calling, shaming, blaming everything onto that child. Um, Punishing the child physically, emotionally, really using that child as the scapegoat, what the abuse collector for the family. And this is a horrible thing for a child to experience. This is very traumatic. Um, this creates all kinds of warps and traumas and responses, and it creates a very specific neurological wiring. And um, and it's also, a lot of times it will happen in early childhood um, when you're supposed to be using your parents as a secure base so that you can develop the rest of your functions. If you're the scapegoat, there's lots of confusion around, why is this happening to me? You don't know when it's going to happen. You can't understand the rhyme or reason, so it feels very um, disorganized, and it feels very you feel blindsided, and there's lots of gaslighting, and so nobody believes you, um, and so it's a really crappy place to be. If you, and most people do, when you survive this as an adult, that doesn't mean you get to graduate from that program. As a matter of fact, if you try to be good or do things like that because you think surely they'll see me, then it doesn't matter, because they actually need you to be the scapegoat for their function. And so, gosh, this is not the fun part of the talk, but this is the real part of the talk. This is what people are going through in family systems that are dysfunctional, and does not have to do anything with money. There are very wealthy families that are doing this. There are very poor families that are doing this, and there's everybody in between. This is not, this doesn't happen because oh, well, we're this culture, so it doesn't happen here. No, this is actually a human thing, and it's happening everywhere. We do it at a societal level. We do it. This is what humans do. And it creates trauma. But in family systems, when this happens, even if you leave, people will do things to seduce you back into the role of the scapegoat, and you'll actually think things are really good, and then they're not. And many scapegoats have already left their family of origin, and they're like, "Shh, I'll be just fine for the holidays. So this happens too. And I have no judgment for you because I know that this is awful. And if you're listening to this and you're not the family scapegoat and you encounter people who have no contact with their family because of this issue, please believe them. They are not lying. This is awful. And there really is not, there's a way to win. We're going to talk about that. It's through healing, as a matter of fact. But outside of that, there's not really a way to win this game because it we'll unpack this along the way. I'll have words for that. I'm commanding the words to show up and jump out of my mouth as we speak. They'll come out like 10, 20 minutes later. But so what happens, but there are other people who are the scapegoat in the family and don't know that yet, and they're not ready to leave, and they're not ready to some people that leave decide also to reintegrate, but whichever they are, to live well in this, you will need to reorganize to thrive and survive this dynamic. And if you hope to make something new for yourself and to create something new for yourself, even possibly in your family of origin. Okay, I'm just going to tell you what I know. It's your job to navigate your world. Your parents, your family dynamics are totally different. Everyone's are, and that's why I never judge and I don't give advice, because the one who knows how to solve these issues and resolve these issues are you and your inner self. And we want to uncover all of the gunk that's in the way of you hearing that sound. And knowing what you know, and which is how to navigate this for you. So, so anyway, scapegoating, and it's hard to get out of this wherever you're at. And if you're going to go back to the family of origin where scapegoating happens, I have 3 goals for you. There's 3 phases of this. I want you to use this as a time to heal. And I'm going to prepare you to work with this before, during, and after family gatherings, because these are 3 potential places where you can get transformation and healing. What we're going to be healing, and I am going to move my table up. I thought, let me try this sitting because I was just standing for a whole session, but we're going up. So be with me here. Okay. What's so painful? Let me talk to you about the holidays, and from your subconscious mind's perspective, your survival system's perspective, and your body's perspective, and your conscious mind's perspective. Okay? Because if you can see this from their perspective, you'll see a clear path on what you need to do to resolve this and to heal and to get rid of more symptoms of anxiety, depression, and traumatic stress, and to free your nervous system from the gunk that is scapegoating. Okay, because as long as your nervous system is packed full of scapegoating, that's what keeps us pulled into this. Anyway, that was very artistically said, but hopefully you'll understand as I keep going. Okay, so what we know that's going to surface during visits with your family is they are going to scapegoat you, and that in their beautiful, horrible, dysfunctional way of scapegoating you, unless they've done their inner work to change their dynamics internally and their boundaries and done that work, we are going to expect them to be exactly just as they are and as they always are. And so we're planning for this horrible thing to take place. Okay. So what we're going to find is when you're interacting with them, old emotional wounds are going to surface. And your attachment wounds, these old emotional wounds are things like attachment wounds, which I think are the most painful of all the wounds humans experience. And that's that trust, that bond, this is my tribe, this is my sense of belonging. That includes wounds of not being seen. When your parents look at you and they can't see you, they don't know who you are, they just see who they think you are. They see their projection of you, they see their ideas, their beliefs, they cannot see you. Being misunderstood, that creates a specific, that leaves a big hole of an unmet need that your inner self will keep grasping at. This is one of the reasons why people continue to be in relationships with dysfunctional people, because of these bonds, these deep, instinctual, deep layers of who we are, that we need to be in our pack. We need to get that understanding. We need to convince them. We need them to see it our way. We need, surely, if they just understood us, then they wouldn't do this anymore, which is not accurate. And so these are the wounds that are going to surface during this time. There's also the wound of being prejudged already, which is very depressing, right? It's no use. Why fight it? Or be just angering, why you're filled with rage. This is why. And then all the assumptions they make about you that have nothing to do with you, but are just designed to actually hurt you and bring them together. I see, as I help people unpack their trauma, I see the clever and creative ways this takes place, because the human brain is creative, right? And it's creative with function, and it's creative with dysfunction. So, however, when you're going into this is already starting just thinking about being with your family, right? So let me tell you, from your subconscious mind's perspective, your subconscious mind sits in the back, and it governs like all the things that have ever happened to you that have an emotional charge to them, that it thought, ooh, that's pretty. Your subconscious mind isn't very, it's not a thinking center. It works with its own things. And I like to think of it like this, that it really likes things that are blingy and shiny. That's its decision-making tool. It's like, ooh, how pretty. And what it likes, it thinks is really shiny, is emotion. It doesn't care if it's good emotion or bad emotion or helpful or hurtful. It's just, ooh, that's really shiny. If it's shiny like that, it must be important. Let's go grab it and pick it up. So lots of things are back here that have a lot of shine on them. They have a lot of emotion. And some of that emotion is very, very painful. But it's got this stuff back here, and then it's constantly working to help you reach your goals and your dreams. And as it tries to do that, it's running into everything that's back here, that's why you can't get that goal yet. And so what it does, it will say, oh, well, let's send this to the front of the brain and have them fix it for us. And then we'll get out of the way, and we will be able to come into alignment with that goal and get it, right? So your goal right now could be have a healthy holiday season, have healthy relationships, and heal, resolve your anxiety, depression, trauma disorder, and live a happy life, right? Your subconscious mind is working on that, but there's all this gunk in the way. And so so what it does is it tries to line you up with the things that will bring these things to the surface, right? So if you've got a lot of scapegoating trauma still back here in your subconscious mind, it's going to line you up so that there's that scapegoating pain. There it is. And then it connects you with all the stuff in the back. That's the same pain. And then it's like, go, go. And it tries to get it through your healing pathways. It does not understand and know that you have a survival system block right here that is going to register pain, block it, and shove it back down. So it's going to try to get all this pain up. It's going to be like, we're here. Look, they're scapegoating us. This is the match of all this stuff that's coming out. Let's bring it up. So not only are you feeling the pain of being scapegoated, but you're feeling all the pain you've ever felt of being scapegoated collide in this moment at your parents' house at the holidays, or at your sister's house, or your brother's house, or your uncles, whoever's scapegoating you. And so from your subconscious mind back there, like, yes, go, 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 go. It's waiting for the holidays. It's like, I'm about to dump a bunch of brain trash, and I'm going to be free, and I'm going to get to put us into alignment, right? So from that part of your brain's perspective, this is great. This is like a dream come true. It's been working hard for this, right? So this is what's going on. This is why we keep staying in situations that are painful to us, or are abusive, or that we know something's not right, but why are we here? Why do we keep doing this thing over and over again? It's your subconscious mind. It's like we got stuff to work. We got work here. And it's in the background hooking you up to align you with this. Right? So understand that one part of your brain is going to use this to the fullest extent. From your survival system's perspective, this is war. This is a nightmare. This is, I don't want to do this. This is a bad idea. There's going to be a lot of emotion coming up, which means pain. It's working to keep you away from that. You're going to notice that your survival system is responding to this because you're going to start, you don't want to go. You are probably fantasizing about other places you could be. You're in fight mode. You're more irritable. You're freezing. You're sleeping more. Just knowing that this is coming. You're fawning more. Maybe people are calling you and you're doing all the people pleasing things to say so that maybe this time they won't scapegoat you, beat you with the emotional sticks that are coming. Right. And so your survival system is not thrilled that you're even doing this, that this is even a thing. And so now we have two parts of you working in the opposite direction. One wants the emotional like situation to happen, and one does not. Okay. And these are both pretty big, powerful players. You've also got your body. And if you can understand it from your body's perspective, your body stores all the unprocessed memories of all the scapegoating. It doesn't have words to express those, but I'll tell you what, it knows what's happening, and it knows what time of year it is. It knows the temperature changes. It's registering all this stuff as we're about to do that scapegoating thing. And you will notice things happening in your body like stomach ache. You might notice more diarrhea. You might notice more tension in your back and shoulders. You might notice more headaches. You might notice your feet getting going numb and tingling more. You may notice your body having a lot to say about what's coming up in the holidays, right? So you've got one part in you that's just in the middle, kind of just freaking out. Okay. And then there's the conscious mind, which is trying to understand all of that stuff. And so you're thinking about this and you're thinking about that and you're thinking about everything. And this can make it more difficult to sleep before holidays. This can have you waking up in the middle of the night. This can make times right now difficult to concentrate. Might find your mind going blank more often. There is a lot going on with you before you even get to the holidays, right? And so this situation, if we can get all these parts into alignment, awesome things are about to happen. And that's really what we want to do. Because as great as an opportunity as this gathering holiday season is for an emotional beating that can lead to you spiraling out, dissociating for weeks, and or suicidal at the end of it, because let's get real. This is horrible. And massively taxing on a human. As much as this has a potential for harm, this also has that much potential for healing. Now, depending on where you're at in your healing journey, what we want to do is, I want to explain this well. In order to do very strategic, deep work during the holidays, you have to be in a stress level of this, right? In the beginning of someone's healing journey, um, this scapegoating thing can take them above the tolerance level. And so then the work is really not to do any massive, awesome, deep work. It's really just keep working with the nervous system, very superficial, but powerful. When I say superficial, I don't mean not powerful. I just mean superficial. Like, we're not going to go all the way down in there. We are going to apply tons of interventions, lots of emotional freedom techniques, lots of energy medicine, lots of collarbone breathing. Those are 3 interventions that I'm teaching right now. I just lined up my email list so that I would be able to deliver them to people, to my whole list and anybody who signed up. So those are also available in my Facebook group as trainings there. But those 3 interventions we just want to help your whole nervous system get through this. If you're in 10 level on a scale of 0 to 10, if you're at a 10 of distress thinking about your parents, we're not going to use a lot of skill. We're just going to use a lot of intervention, right? And help you work with your nervous system to bring it down. And that's a huge goal, because okay, what I really want to say is, right, the opportunity for terror is right here, and the opportunity for healing is down here, let's say. we want to bring this up where we get more healing, and we want to bring this down where we get less pain. That's our first goal, right? If you've done a couple rounds of healing with the family, you've been doing a lots of your own tapping, you've been doing a lot of your own healing from emotional wounds, maybe you've been doing EMDR, you may be in a place where you can really do a lot of transformation right here. You can get very deep, you can get very specific and targeted, as opposed to the other where we just want to stay very broad and a lot, but broad, right? But the more healing you do, you can really take this time and 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 just transform the mess out of it. It's fabulous. Um, but each time, what we want you to do is get as much healing out of being with your family as you can. Now, if you're not going to go to your family's house, great, fine. You're saving yourself a lot of stress. But if you could tolerate the stress and you want to go to your family's for a holiday thing, you do stand to be in a position to do a lot of healing work and understand your family is not going to change. You are going to use that not changing to heal yourself, right? I'm saying a lot here. Yes. Okay. So I'm just going to say what Natalie's saying here. She says she says, yes, it sounds like what I'm dealing with, but don't know how to deal with it, or if it's PTSD from past trauma. Yes, sleep is very hard too. Yes, this is post-traumatic stress. I can't over this thing say it's a disorder, but if it's compromising three of your areas of function, your social life, your work, your self-care, like your ability to sleep, then it does meet criteria. But that's for you and whoever you choose to work with's place to decide that. Um, and you need to have enough symptoms. But for somebody who has scapegoating trauma, that's massive developmental trauma. And that's so. Having said that, there's quite a bit of work to do on the nervous system with that. So that doesn't mean it has to take a long time. So I'm just going to reorganize here because this is a lot. This is really a lot, and I've been thinking about it. I'm writing something, and was somebody in my Facebook group asked about this specific thing, and I was like, oh, I'm going to write something for them. And I'm writing it, and it's so complex that I'm halfway through, and I need to take a break at it and let things organize. And I'm like, by the time I get this thing done, it'll be after the holidays. So I was like, I'm just going to do it live. So you are dealing with me sorting through some thoughts at the same time. But I think we're gonna get this. Okay, so we've covered that this is really painful. Obviously, we've covered that this from your subconscious, from the four parts of you perspective, um, and really, I want you to know that right now, as you're looking at the holidays forward, your subconscious mind is already going. Um, And your survival system may or may not be going. You'll have to kind of tune into that yourself. You'll notice that by feeling like you want to lean back or want to lean forward, or if you're just feeling on guard and like I need to be defensive, or shutting down. If you're going numb already, that's a good sign your survival system's already active. If your survival system is engaged, it's going to be very difficult for your subconscious mind to get all of this stuff, all the healing work through that it wants to get through. And that's really where these interventions come in, where emotional freedom techniques, thought field therapy, EMDR, and energy medicine come in, is that they really work to grab hold of the survival system and comfort it in its native language, which is the body, and really send it the message, you're safe, it's okay, let's let some healing happen. And while that's happening, the survival system, the subconscious mind will be able to get that emotion through as long as you're using the intervention. And then it's like when you're done using the intervention, the survival system's back up in charge and it's like, hey, nobody move, right? But you already got some of the emotion through, and the front of your brain is already working on that and doing healing work for you, right? And that's like a 30-second intervention. And if you're doing a collarbone breathe, which I teach, that's a 2-minute intervention. So 2 minutes of electrical speed, your brain moving emotion, you're getting a good amount of emotion through. But if we can take that and do those interventions for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, you're going to get a lot of stuff through. And so while you're thinking about it, right, I want to talk, we're talking right now about preparing. And that's really when you can do a lot of work. And you want to take advantage of your prep time if you're going into this, because it's your healing opportunity. Your brain is imagining worst case scenarios. You're using your intervention. Your brain is you're waking up with nightmares. You're using an intervention. Those also your subconscious mind trying to get stuff through. It's like she's asleep. Let's see if we can get stuff through. No, we can't get it that way. Okay, let's see if we can get stuff through this way. Right? It's constantly working on this day and night, which drives people hugely crazy. So because if it doesn't work, it never stops trying. And that's really why we want to work specifically with the survival system, to get it out of the way and let that stuff move. Okay. Also, another point, while you're waiting for this and your stomach is in knots because you know what's going to happen, you know they're going to say that thing, or she thinks she's too good for us, he's just this and they just that. You know that's coming, and your stomach has a lot to say about it. Pay attention to that and use your intervention and get that stuff from your stomach into the front of the brain. That's called neuroception. You're actually that's the language of the body, is sensation. And that sensation has to come up through the brainstem and actually make it through the brain's process and land up here where you will actually understand it. Words will be assigned. You'll actually understand what your stomach was doing. But also when it gets up there, it can store the memory properly and not in your stomach. I know that's nerd geek awesome talk, but that's where if we talk about symptoms, or we help your subconscious mind, but the memory stays in your stomach, the symptoms don't stop. The symptoms of anxiety, depression, traumatic stress, really, if we can get them cleared from the body, the rest of the brain will take care of itself. But it doesn't seem to work the other way. If you clear it up here, it clears from the body. You have to make sure it gets cleared from the body. Now that might mean you need to do the stuff up here first, right? But we have to make sure it gets out of the body, gets to release that stuff as well. So all these physical symptoms you're having, some of you may feel like your legs turn to lead. That's the stuff we're looking for. That's the stuff we've got to get through the brain's healing pathways. That's the stuff. And this is stuff you can do for yourself. This is stuff that you want the person that you're working with to help you with. Because this is, it's kind of interesting because it seems so backwards. It seems so like we should sit here and strategize, and we should, this is making plans is a prefrontal cortex thing, and we should do all this stuff. But it doesn't work like that. And as a matter of fact, most people spend so much time trying to think about this and think about that and their exit strategy and what they're going to say and what they're going to do, that they're really actually, their thinking center is blocking the healing pathways, using up the energy. And so really, a lot of times what we really want to do is trust this other stuff coming through is really where the power of change happens. This is the stuff that your survival system is listening to, and why you freeze when they say what they say. You've been planning your comeback line every year, but when you get in the moment, you freeze. And then you shift to the left and you find yourself fawning all over them and complimenting them and appeasing them and sure, I'll do whatever you want. And then you leave and you're like, why did I say the thing? Why did I say the thing? Well, because your survival system said, we're going into a survival state because this is dangerous. And it did that because of all this stuff that's going on in your body, all the signals it's getting from your body saying, we're not okay, we're not okay. As long as your body is saying that, your survival system is going to get in there and shut you down. And all the plans you've thought of up here and all the conversations you've had are not going to translate into healing. You're going to have done a lot of work, but you're going to be stuck with the same old, same old. So really, some of this stuff is about learning, oh, that's my subconscious mind. Let me help it. Let me give it some brain power, right? You use a little tapping, right? Some of this is learning about what your brain is doing. Oh, that's my body. My body's going off. Let me help my body move this emotion. I don't even know what emotion it is, but I know it is. That sensation is the body's expression of emotion and memories and beliefs. And you can always, anytime you're going into fight, flight, freeze, faint, or fawn, you want that. That's when you're having your racing thoughts, your panic attacks. You want to use these interventions. You want to engage your survival system, say, hey, we don't need to panic right now. You're kind of rocking it like a baby, because that's what it's wired like. That's why we do this with babies, is because we're actually working with their nervous system, their survival system, and we're calming them, and then they're learning, right? And that's the thing, when your survival system is calm, your whole brain is learning, right? It's learning, but it's actually healing. It's actually making new connection. It's actually rewiring differently and more effectively. The more you reach in here and you grab your survival system and you rock it and you soothe it with these interventions, the ones that are right for you, the more you're doing that, the more you will notice change in your symptoms. You'll notice changes in the things that your brain allows you to say. You might actually finally, you will finally get out that statement, that being able to defend yourself. And this is really where all the hard work is. Your brain knows how to do this. And all of a sudden what happens is, as I'm working with clients, they'll come back and say, I just said, you can't talk to me like that, and I took my kids and left. I can't believe I did that. I've been thinking about doing that for years. I never could do that. And yeah, all we did was this. We used interventions. We helped their body. We helped their subconscious mind. We helped all the memories that were coming back in the flashbacks. We helped them get through into the part of the brain that can actually create change, learn, heal, upgrade, not regress. That's all these moments where you regress back to your 17-year-old self, or your 13-year-old self, or your 8-year-old self with your parents. And you're like, why do I do that? This is why. You're there when you're in this mode, all of your neural pathways lead back to that time frame. And so you go back to being 8. You go back to being 8. Every time your parents do this, you go back to being 8. And they do this dance, this neural pathway dance every time. But all of a sudden, if you can get that neural pathway package up and through the healing pathways, all of a sudden your brain says, what are we doing here? We need a new pathway. We don't want this hooked up here. And it fixes it for you. That's what it does. Just like that. And then when you go again and your parents do the thing, now instead of going down this way, you go down a different one, and you're like, whoa, I did something different. Yeah, your brain is fixing things for you. That's what it does. That's what brains do. And that's the message I want to tell you right now, is that you don't need to fix this scapegoating problem and the trauma that comes from it. You need to help your brain fix this problem. Your brain is the only one qualified to do this. And a pound of thinking about this is not any more valuable than an ounce of just helping your brain and your body do this healing work. So I want to make sure you're picking up what I'm putting down. Oh, yes. Julianne, you're welcome. I'm glad you guys are following me, because this is from my brain out. I have another video on scapegoating, how to know if you're the family scapegoat. That one I go into more depth in. This one I'm doing a little bit more on how to help yourself heal, because as a therapist, and not as a human. As a human, I hate these moments. I just want you to know, I hate these moments. I am sorry for you. I feel for you. This is not the fun stuff. As a therapist, this is the good stuff. This is like when I know this is happening, I'm like, oh gosh, here we go. Buckle up, everybody. We are about to have a massive healing and shifting. It's going to be ugly. It's going to be messy. But when we come out on the other side of this, if we do this right, we are going to see so much healing and updating of your whole system, right? And let me tell you, to do this right is just to keep you in the healthy stress zone. There's going to be so many times where you pop out, because this is so painful. This is so painful. Your survival system will take you out of here. It's dissociation, depression. Anything it can do to get you back in this pain threshold, it will do. And so we want to, that's why the interventions are so powerful and helpful, because they do a great job in regulating your nervous system. Your nervous system starts getting dysregulated, panic, hurt, agony starts coming up, horror, heebie jeebies, betrayal, oh my gosh, betrayal. And it gets up, and you can use an intervention and bring your nervous system back down, and then it's going to come back up, right? I mean, these sorts of things are like, the work is just bring it down, bring it down, bring it down. I mean, that's really what it is. And when it's that massive, if this is your second or third go around, or you've been doing a lot of healing work up to this point, then this is going to be a lot different. This is going to be more, we're going to do more spot work. Okay, I mostly did well here. Ah, they got me here. And now we're going to work on what that is, and we're going to get to the root of that, and we're going to resolve it. And we're going to help your brain create a new program there. And a lot of times we can do that in the moments, right? Or maybe in the evening time. Okay, that happened, and then we'll work on it in the evening, right? Or in the next morning, whenever is the right next time. Um, that's a lot more, that feels better, right? Because we're talking now about pacing. And some of these, that's the big deal here, is that some of this is so intense from the beginning. The pace at which the intensity comes is overwhelming. And that's really where you want to use, when you're in those moments. Now we're moving on to the phase where you're actually in the holiday situation with the family. When you're in those moments, that's really where you want to keep the pace right for you. You want to do lots of soothing, lots of tapping, lots of self-comforting, a lot of anything you can do, soothing, self-care, anything you can do that works directly with your survival system. And that's anything that you find soothing. Some people want to take hot baths. Now hear me. I'm saying use emotional freedom techniques, thought field therapy, EMDR, energy medicine a lot during this time. And this is why I teach my clients how to self-apply these, and I build their skills, because these are the moments when you need those interventions the most, I think. When your brain is firing off, you don't want to wait till your next session with your therapist a week from now. It's like you have so much opportunity to create change in your own brain and body right in those moments, or immediately afterward. There's no reason to wait and suffer during the time, during all that, until you're waiting for your next session. And then you get 1 hour to process things. So anyway, use those interventions. And outside of that, that's really where you want to take breaks. You want to take walks. You want to get away. You want to take hot baths. You want to do your soothing thing. This is where you're going to be more tempted to have more alcohol, because it's a great mind-body intervention. It really regulates the nervous system, but there are many horrible side effects of that are not just liver damage over long-term use, right? You turn your survival system off, and then you're agreeing to things you don't want to agree to. You're not able to defend yourself as well. I don't know. I mean, you got to make that decision for yourself. But these are the things you got to think about. And the goal here in this moment is to do as much as you can, but the top priority is survive. Pain overload is not going to be helpful during this time, right? So do what you can to keep yourself in there. This is not about perfection. This is not about having that final family gathering that was finally fulfilling. No, we're in healing work. We're working towards that. We can absolutely have that. You can have functional relationships with dysfunctional people. It's a thing. But what was I going to say? But our goal here is not perfection right now. Our goal is to maximize and optimize your healing opportunities, and grab up your healing potential here. And if there's this much healing potential, if we get this much, we're winning. If we get this much, we're winning. And you survived those two things, we're winning. Totally winning. Getting even this much through when you have all of this stuff and more is so powerful on a brain level. As a matter of fact, I could go off and on about that, but I'm just going to say that so I don't go off and on about that, is that a little bit of healing matters so much. Sometimes clients will say, well, it was just, it's just a little distress. I'm like, we're working through your disorder. Let's get it. It all matters. Right. Or people will think, oh, well, it's not going to matter anyway. They have such a pile of work to do. I know. Let's go. Let's get this stuff through. And so understand that all the little stuff matters. All the little stuff matters. And that's one of the great reasons why it's wonderful to have someone in your corner, because sometimes you do feel hopeless. Sometimes you do feel overwhelmed, and sometimes you don't know it because you've lived like this your whole life. You think this is normal. And so when they attack you and your nervous system flies through the roof, that's normal. And it's nice to have someone you check in with you and say, your face doesn't look the same. What's going on? How are you feeling? I had a client come to me just the other day, all puffy and frozen. And I was like, oh, what's happening here? Right? We did lots of interventioning. It was awesome. Brains heal. So even if it's so intense, give your brain a try. Support your brain. Use an intervention. See what you can do. Okay. Now, after the holidays, okay, this is really where so much of the healing, whatever you didn't get done, you can get done. What happens is after we go through something, one of the brain's processes for healing is to review it. And that's when you can get so much healing and change. You don't want to just, oh, well, it happened. I'll wait till next time. No, this is it. This is it. We just went through hell and we got all these experiences. Let's shovel them through the healing pathways. Let's sit and shovel. We're just going to shovel for a while. And pretty soon your brain is like, oh, I see what you're doing. You're shoveling all this stuff through. Yes. And then it's going to help you. And so while you're shoveling and your brain's helping you shovel too. So now there's two of you. Right? And pretty soon your brain's like, move out of the way. I got this. I can do this faster. Watch me. Because it's learning how to shovel. It's learning how to do this dance. It's learning how to help you heal. And you're training it by getting in there, rolling up your sleeves, and shovel. It's watching you. It knows what you're doing. And so it will come help you. It's like, oh, this is working. She's doing it. He's doing it. Let's go do it too. And there you are. And now you're in a healing. You're training your brain to do this healing work. And that pays off big time because you've got to recondition that. You've got to, your brain's in there like this. I don't even know this is bad. Right? It doesn't know what to do. It's like everybody's going in different directions. Your subconscious mind doing this. And it's just, and when you come in like this and you just start moving stuff and things start working, it's like, oh, hold up. What is going on? And pretty soon, there you go. And it's off and running and helping you. So this post hell week, holiday week, for you who are the family scapegoat, is really the richest ground for transformation. I want to explain this. This is where what's happening during this is this is valuable because it's very difficult to recreate the same wound that's created during scapegoating, during early childhood scapegoating. It's very difficult. So when you go back to your family and they recreate it for you, there's no, it's an exact fit. You don't have to use that exact fit, but that's really what it is. It's an exact fit. And so all this, your brain is making all these associations. And if we can get that through the healing pathways, you get to heal all these deep emotional wounds. You get to unhook yourself from needing to convince them. You get to work with your survival system and your survival programming so that what was a threat is no longer a threat to you. So that your parents can do their awful things and it doesn't like this is what happens is that, let's say you have an emotional wound right here from scapegoating. And every time that happens, you go in agony and pain, and your parents or your siblings celebrate because they may. And when we go into agony and pain, we'll go also into our strategies for coping with that. And sometimes we'll attack them. we will go into fight mode and we'll attack them. And what happens then is they get to say, oh, they were so mean to me. And then they get to go run into the arms of their sibling or a spouse. And then the spouse, they go together and they fight you, right? So they needed to press this button to get you mad, to get them into the arms of their partner and teamed up and coming back at you, right? So if they touch here and you don't, now they don't get to do the rest of their dance. And they're sitting there poking you, but we healed this wound, right? This wound's good. Touch it. Go ahead. Go ahead, sister, touch this. Touch it. Right? And you're just like, okay. And so now you're sitting here looking at them and they're looking at you and they're trying to poke that and you're like, oh, I see you're poking that. And now actually your eyes are on them. And when your eyes turn to them, whatever your eyes turn onto is where that's kind of, and I mean eyes, I mean your brain eyes. That's where transformation and the healing process can happen. And so if your eyes are looking at them, the healing process is not always cute. But when you do this and you're hurting, all of a sudden your eyes turn to yourself and you start trying to do this. And if your healing process is broken, you're just doing the first part, which is cutting it all up. And then so you're kind of hurting yourself. You're making your wound worse. But the person who's done it, your eyes are off of them. You're now dealing with the fact that you're bleeding out, right? So when you're with them and they're doing this and they're not, all of a sudden you're still watching them. And it's something when you're being watched doing something horrible and somebody is not screaming and howling and not judgmental. And it's also something when you plan for them to do this and make this huge explosion and no explosion happens. Or that's the stuff that really creates change. And I'd need to do a whole nother video on that one, because it's really an in-depth process. And I have never figured out how to explain it with words. I like to wait till people start to experience it and they have words for it and they have their words for it. And then they're seeing it and they're like, can you believe this? Yes. And then we go from there. So to explain it the other way will take me a little bit of thought. So, but understand that after the time, there's so much healing. This is really when you can start working with somebody. You can start working with somebody at any time, but if your pain threshold is up, it's a lot of work for yourself to be doing. And but you can definitely get some support. I'm trying to say something. Let me figure this out. So at any time you can get support, right? But I just want you to understand and impress upon you that after these situations is really a massively beneficial time to do healing work. All the other ones have their own like key points, but this one is really has its own awesome and its own beauty. So I really want you to see that and take advantage of that. Okay, so that's what we have. So we have how to prepare. We have how during the events and after the holidays. And this is really, those are the 3 points when you really have a lot of opportunity to create healing and transformation. So I hope you gathered what you needed to gather from that. That was a wild ride. And I think I'll do another one on this soon. But just know this is a difficult one, but the healing you get out of this is so massive. This is where so many of your dreams can come true, because this is the stuff that buries our confidence. This is the stuff that holds us into old patterns, and this is the trauma that needs to be released from our system. There's a lot of other gentler ways to do this. I would not wish this on anyone, but since we're going into this, and many of you will go into this with your families, and wild horses couldn't drag you away from it, know that there's a lot of potential for healing here, and that it's not for nothing. And but you do want to do this work because you do want to get the healing. Just because all the emotions come up does not mean they'll make it through the healing pathways. That does not mean your brain will be able to create healing with it. So that's it for me. If you want to learn more about working with me, about doing any of this work, the curriculum I've developed is available on my website. You can learn more about that. I have an 8-week intensive where I will walk you through each step of this transformation and help you move your anxiety, depression, and trauma disorder or trauma disorder into remission, especially this kind of trauma. This is a trauma that's often overlooked, this and many other ones, right? But a lot of times people make it to adulthood and they have all these symptoms and they're like, why? I had an okay childhood, and then we uncover these things. So this one heals really well. So anyway, those are on my website at rachelmccloud.com, and I look forward to connecting with you more. See you at another time. Bye.